Hey, thank you for joining us. This is Emma from the Daisy Chain podcast. I'm really, really excited today to have Carrie Dementia Darling join us. Carrie has a Master of Science in Human Development and Family Studies, and has a wealth of experience and knowledge. And we met via Instagram, of all places. Started following each other. So Carrie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk.
And you're living in the past because it's only Tuesday where you are.
I know, it's so weird. It's like, what's the future like over there?
It's pretty cool.
Yes. It's got to be better than what? No, I'm just kidding. No.
So where are you?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's cool. 6 p.m. in PM, obviously. Yeah. I was going to say in the evening. So the sunset's going down right now. It's beautiful. What time is it where you are?
It's midday in Sydney on Wednesday. So yeah, so far Wednesday's okay. So you'll
okay. Good to know. Good to know. I'm prepared now.
So thank you again for your time. I know you're super busy, doing a million different things. As I said, we met on Insta, and I was drawn to your posts and just basically the feel and the care that you give, and we connected and had a chat. So can you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So as you said, I'm Dementia Darling online. My name is Carrie Aalberts, and I have always just had such a passion for people that are older, just older adults in general. And then my grandmother went through her dementia journey, and I watched my father be her family caregiver and that main caregiver, and watch how difficult that journey was for him. Even as a lawyer himself, he had such a hard time navigating this role as a caregiver, right? That you're just kind of thrown into a lot of the time. So watching him in that position, even at a young age, I was 13 when my grandma passed. I remember thinking like, there is not enough support here. And I remember kind of taking that in. And so when I got to college and there was a gerontology school, I was so excited to be able to really study seniors and specifically people living with dementia. And so I went to school and got to go right into adult daycare work and environment. And I just felt completely in love. And so now go forward, I am an adult daycare director, and I am running an adult daycare right now. And it's very rewarding, very tough, tough work and caregiving work. And I work closely with family caregivers every day. And I, created Dementia Darling 2 years ago to just kind of have a place where caregivers could go and find community and support, because that is a huge part of the caregiving journey is not being alone in it. And so we'll talk about that more so in a little here. But so Dementia Darling is a place for community support and education for dementia caregivers.
Beautiful. And as you said, it's definitely something that's missing, and there's a huge need for it. And it can be very lonely caring for someone with dementia. So, and I love the fact that I think maybe this is why we connected, is that it's kind of our grandmothers that inspired us and have given us our purpose. So there's that similarity as well. So today we're going to, the theme is 5 tips for dementia caregivers. We're going to go through the 5 tips in a little bit more detail, but basically it's community, respite, preparation, education, and self-care. So they're the 5 things we're going to talk about. Is there a specific reason for those topics?
So it's hard, first off, to narrow down tips, right? My whole page is devoted to tips, so I could go on forever. But I try to think, when I think about my 5 top dementia caregiving tips, or just for caregivers in general, to be honest, these are the 5 things that come to mind, because I think they are the 5 pillars of what's going to hold you up in your caregiving journey. And then the other tips along the way, specific to dementia caregiving, are they fit inside those, if that makes sense, and above those columns. So there's just so much to unpack with dementia caregiving. We'll have to have another episode where we do even more so specific dementia tips. But in general, these are they're 5 essentials for caregivers to survive and to be able to do this in a healthy way. I think. So perfect. That's where they come from. Those are the things that popped into my head first, for sure.
Excellent. Well, we might just jump straight into number one. So number one is community.
Community. It's what we're doing right now, right? We're connecting. What I love about social media is that we can connect all over the world, right? Yep. And so many people start following me, caregivers, and they say, oh my gosh, my loved one passed. I wish I knew about you when I was caregiving, or I wish this was around when I was caregiving in the 80s and 90s. And, and so many people are just wanting that connection, that community, people that understand them, right? People that aren't caregiving won't get it. No. They just won't. No. They will not be. I mean, they can be sympathetic to that, but they're not going to be empathetic. They do not understand, and especially it's frustrating when your family members who, don't want to help are giving you judgment. That's not community we're looking for. I'm saying we need to have a community around us that we can lean on that gets it, that understand how hard it is. This job is the hardest job in the world, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And I will fight anyone who says that it's not, because I have some backing up on that, because this is hard. And these family caregivers, they need to know they're not alone, because it is insane how many people are out there all over the world doing this back-breaking, heart-wrenching work day in and day out, and they still think they're alone.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. Yeah. So you need to, it's hard. And I know I'm telling you another thing you have to do. I know this is annoying. Caregivers have enough to do. And now I'm like, now go find people. No, I get it. That's hard. But take a second, go on Instagram, go on Facebook, Google support group in my area, what have you, and seek your people out. They're there. And they want you around too. They need someone to talk to. And that's what has been so cool doing Dementia Darling is I'm mind blown by this community. The dementia caregiving community, the support that is out there, even though it's not a lot, there is support out there, and it's amazing. And it's people like you and like me who have devoted our lives to this and just want to see people thriving in their caregiving situations and to be supported as best they can. It's never going to be an easy journey, but let's make it a little bit more manageable. Let me carry some of the load for you. Let me, whatever we can to vent to each other and find our people is huge. So find your community, whether that be on Dementia Darling, and start messaging people you see in the comments, be like, let's be friends. But whatever you have to do to find your people, I promise they're there, whether it be in your town where you are, or whether it be online, someone across the world like we are.
Yeah,
there's people. And that's what's kind of cool about the pandemic is Zoom came out of this, right?
I was just about to say.
So
there's massive need for connection and
huge
interaction. And, we know the world's a smaller place than it used to be. And then it felt like that got taken away from us.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we probably wouldn't have connected had it not been for the pandemic and seeing each other. And it's definitely
exactly. So I mean,
bonus.
Huge. So utilize that, right? See what Zoom support groups are out there and get in them. I know it's more things for you to do, but it will be worth it in the long run when you have people surrounding you. And even if they're not there with you physically, they can be there to support you mentally.
Do you think there's a reason that people don't reach out earlier when, is that like part of human nature? Is that we wait till we're like almost past the point of no return before we ask for help?
I think people wait till crisis point. And that's one of my biggest things is not waiting till crisis. I work for a nonprofit where people call us for services when they're in crisis. And when when people call and say, oh, I'm about to lose my place, I'm getting evicted, let's say, but I knew 3 months ago. Why do you wait till the week you're getting evicted? You call 3 months ahead, right? So same with this. We need to be prepared. We need to not wait until we're burnt out to look for community and look for people. Right when we get a diagnosis, right when we think something might be going on, let's reach out to people who is experiencing this, who can, relate with me. Because there's a lot of people, once you start talking about stuff with people in your life, you realize how many people are really dealing with things that are similar to you. And so, yeah, I don't think it's good to wait. We do wait because we think we can handle it. We're told by society, suck it up, you can do it. Everyone's doing it, you know, all these other caregivers are fine. No, they're not. We're all drowning. We're all looking for help and support and love and connection. And so that's, number one, community. I could go on forever.
Cool.
I'll cut myself off.
community and connection is huge. So that was tip one. Okay. Number two is respite.
So respite is huge. That is a time where the caregiver gets a break from caregiving duties, right? And that is very far and few between. It doesn't happen much. So when we get respite, it's really important. I know caregivers who have been caregiving for 20 years and have never once had respite. That's insane.
Yeah. Is that by choice?
I think by not knowing they can.
Yeah.
I think people don't even know, because respite is not a normal thing to say. You don't hear people talking about respite care. So a break for caregivers is not a thing that's known yet, I feel. And at least in our country, I feel that elder care has been so pushed to the wayside. And finally, because these baby boomers are aging, finally we're waking up and, well, maybe we should prepare now. It's a little late, but you know, we need to prepare and have these supports available for caregivers to have the respite they need. But I just don't think caregivers are aware that it's a thing, honestly, which is sad. So respite is huge, getting that time away. There's programs and nonprofits. Sometimes you can qualify if you're lower income for up to 6 hours a week that's free of someone coming in and sitting with your loved one, so you can go grocery shop, take a nap, go to a movie, go see a friend. I know, respite isn't easy to get right now because COVID. We can't really let people in our homes. Yeah. So that's another barrier on this. And it's not like you can leave your loved one on Zoom with someone to watch them. You have to have someone in the home, right? So the pandemic really made it difficult. People haven't been able to have respite in years now because of that. Yeah. So that's again where another tip will come in, is that preparation and getting yourself ready to have respite and have availability. But unfortunately, that's just not available to everyone. Not everyone has friends and family to lean on and come hang out. So you have to get creative. Unfortunately, you probably have to spend money. It's hard. It's another thing you have to get creative about and think long-term about, but respite care is essential to being able to care as long as you need to, because if you're neglecting yourself and you're not, your health is deteriorating, what's going to happen to you if you're not able to care? What's going to happen to your loved one next? So that respite care is really, really important.
I know the same happened here. I have a class in a retirement village, and one of the ladies' husbands had a stroke kind of in between our two lockdowns. Mm-hmm. So he was having someone come in and as you said, do word games with him and just give her a bit of time away. But in this most recent lockdown, all that stopped. And she was saying to me yesterday that he said he feels like people have given up on him. And she's taken on, doing the word games and doing the stuff that's kind of his rehab as well. And she amazingly came to one of our classes yesterday, and she was like, in the hour it was just her, and she could just put herself first for an hour, and she walked away feeling re-energized. But I mean the whole situation with the pandemic is those things have been taken away, and we're all feeling isolated, but that's times by a million when you've got someone that has lost the power of communication. His speech has been affected, and people around the village that he lives don't know how to talk to him, so they just don't talk to him. And he feels like he's been kind of forgotten about, which is heartbreaking.
It's so heartbreaking. And especially with the respite care and stuff and having people come in, it's already, before the pandemic, this was already an issue. Yep. So now add on this huge barrier. Let's make it even harder. So it's just like caregivers aren't getting a break. They keep getting beaten down by this. And like you said, that gentleman, he's feeling isolated too. So then on top of it, caregivers are feeling guilty because their loved ones are feeling isolated and they're missing out on things. And it's just this like compacting all of these problems that are making life so much harder on already a difficult situation called caregiving.
Yeah.
So it's so hard. And I wish I had answers. I wish I had like the secret, like, here's how respite can happen. And it just shows up. Like, I wish, but one day we will get there. That's the goal. Like, we're working. And people like you and I.
I think people are, they don't know because they don't know. And it's not an issue until it's an issue for you. But as you said, by the time it's an issue for you, you're already in the system and it's too late. Most people that, you know, my friends and my circle have no idea, which is why we're here to educate, right? That's
exactly. And you don't, what we're doing. You don't know until you know. And unfortunately, this stigma is still so intense around dementia and caregiving. And unfortunately too, the numbers are growing. So people are gonna find out because it's gonna touch everyone, whether you like it or not at this rate. Everyone's gonna be touched by dementia at some point, unfortunately. Yeah.
So that leads us really nicely on to number 3, which is preparation.
Yes, prepare. It's, I can't say this enough. Like we said earlier, it's just, you can't wait till crisis or you're not going to get the support. You're not going to make decisions correctly in burnout mode. You're not going to, get the right things in place. It's just going to be a mess. So, even if you feel, I'm already close to burnout, what's the point in starting preparing? It's never too late to prepare. Just start where you are right now and prepare for as much as you can. And we'll talk more about the education part that goes into preparing, because you have to be educated to know what to prepare for, right? But utilizing professionals, utilizing elder attorneys, utilizing people that are in this business that know how to, get things in order and make sure everything is as easy for you in the long run, and can really avoid headaches, because it gets really hard in dementia care when we prepare for things. If we wait too long, it can get hard because our loved one then can't sign documents. They can't, they're not able to make decisions anymore. And then that leads to way more headaches for you as the caregiver, right? So preparing for things is huge. Right when we know maybe something might be off, don't wait for a diagnosis necessarily, start getting things together. And I'm also not saying, I want to make sure it's known, because I hate this about sometimes doctors, when you get a diagnosis, they say, get your affairs in order, it's over, and I'm not saying that. I'm not, because life is not over after diagnosis of dementia whatsoever, right? It's, if I lose a limb, my life's not over. I lost a limb, that sucks, but we're going to adapt and life will go on and life can still be beautiful. So that's how I feel about dementia. I'm not saying, it's this sentence of you're done, get your affairs in order. No, but let's save future you a little bit and get stuff prepared so you can focus on their care more and being in the moment with them if you have all that other stuff taken care of ahead of time. Yeah.
So it's about being proactive rather than reactive.
Exactly. You said it perfectly. Yes. You said exactly what I was trying to say in one little thing.
I talk like that to my kids. That's why.
No, it's so smart. It's so true.
Yeah. And it's, you're able to manage your emotions a little bit better when you're proactive than reactive. Because
100%.
Then, it's the emotions they're still there, but they're not overwhelming and overtaking everything. So,
and when you're frustrated and you're stressed, you think everyone's out to get you. You can't make, right? At least I do. I'm like, everything's terrible. So I can't make good decisions whatsoever when I'm in that mode. And so it's hard to make those decisions that are best for yourself and your loved one in that sense. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So education, number 4.
Okay. So education, of course, is so important, because knowing and being, as we say just now, prepared as much as possible is going to ease this journey for you as much as it can if you're educated. I know I said that really weird, but what I'm meaning is don't overdo it either. Don't Google everything about the disease on night 1 or you're done. It's just not going to happen. That's going to be terrible and very depressing. Don't do that. But taking things little by little as your loved one is progressing and seeing, what might be common for the next thing that might happen, because everyone's different with dementia, right? So it's hard to really prepare. But, maybe we know when our loved one starts forgetting things and, and they have a hard time driving, okay, I need to get ready to maybe take away their driver's license and figure out how to do that safely and as respectfully as I can. Things like that to just prepare yourself. So educating yourself, that's why I like Dementia Darling and how I do it, because I want to make it really simple. I don't want to overpower you and make you, oh God, when you wake up in the morning and scroll through Instagram. I want it to be simple. You read it, you learn something once a day and you're good. Yeah. Learn something once a day. And, you don't have to sit reading a whole textbook about dementia. That would be so stressful. So taking it little by little will give you the confidence to care the best you can too, because we do better when we know better, like we said in the beginning. And also you can't beat yourself up for doing certain things if you just don't know, right? So if we know, like I said, you'll feel more confident and you'll be able to get better care. And then you'll also know, if you're educated more, you'll know what resources are out there. You'll know what things you might come in contact with to ask an elder attorney when you go to do preparation. I mean, there's just so much that goes along with education. And since it is a progressive disease, it's always changing. So we're always going to be having to educate ourselves and go with the journey. And it's hard. It's not fun, but it's very important to educate yourself along the entire journey as you go, but not all at once. Please don't do that to yourself. It's too much.
Then we'll all be overwhelmed.
Oh, yes, to say the least.
And I think I was just thinking about, we live in a world where there's this massive focus on being positive. And I think sometimes it's a dangerous thing, because
it is.
It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to feel overwhelmed and feel stressed and feel like it's just sucks, because it does some days.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. And you can say that, like, there's nothing wrong. I meet so many caregivers and I'm the first one to tell them they're allowed to be pissed off.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're a human. If you're not, I'm worried. Like, seriously, you're allowed to be upset and you're allowed to feel all these emotions. And I hate that positive vibes,
Just
only
look on
good
the bright side.
Yeah. Good vibes only. Like, stop, shut up. Like, I can't with that stuff. It's not realistic. It makes us feel badly.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why aren't I always positive vibes? Because it's impossible. We have to get it out. We have to cry. I cry all the time, probably too much. No, but it's good, right? You have to get it out. I always feel better after I cry, but it's good to let yourself feel it. Be pissed off. I know a lot of you are mad for your loved one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really annoying and it's really frustrating because you can't do anything but love them through it. So give yourself the chance and the opportunity to be human. And make mistakes, or you're not caregiving correctly. I think if you're not making mistakes and trying and doing what you need to just do to go with it, make mistakes. You got to do what you got to do. And be human. There's nothing wrong with that.
And what works for one person may not work for you. And
and don't get upset about
fine.
It. Yeah, exactly.
Number 5. I like this one. But number 5, self-care.
Self-care.
Why, how, what, when?
That's hard, because again, it's another thing that caregivers like roll their eyes at me at, and I get it. I know it's super annoying to say, take care of yourself, but as annoying as it sounds for me to say, you literally, if you don't take care of yourself, your loved one will have no one. So like, what do you expect? You have to take care of yourself, plain and simple. None of us can live I'm not necessarily even a healthy life, or just a life with any quality, if we're not caring for ourselves. And I'm not telling you have to be a triathlete and you have to do juice cleanses and no, just give yourself. No, I'm not doing that. Give yourself the opportunity to give back to yourself, if that makes sense. You are worthy of it, and you actually need it to survive. So we have to make ourselves a priority. I know seems so impossible. You're like, girl, I have no time to even sleep. Sleep is self-care.
Yeah.
You know, that's a huge one. We see now that if you're lacking sleep, that can lead to a lot of issues later on. Dementia is one of them.
Dementia, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we have our sleep down, which is, I know, another thing to put, like, make sure you get your sleep or you're going to need a caregiver yourself. It's just like, I hate saying those things, but it's unfortunately true. And I don't like throwing out this number because I see it places, but I'm never able to find the exact resource. But I've seen it where I know this one's for sure. 17% of, this is in America though, 17% of dementia caregivers that are spouses will die before their loved one.
Wow.
And then we see, I've heard this and I've seen it and I saw it again recently, but I can't find it online. It said 40% of all dementia caregivers, not just spouses, will die before their loved one. That's 40%. That makes, that is insane.
That's confronting.
If that's true, like that is almost half of caregivers will die before their loved one because they're not prioritizing themselves. And I understand why. They don't have the time, they don't have the support, especially with the pandemic. So unfortunately, we have to take the initiative to say, I am important and I am part of this relationship as a caregiver and care receiver, and I have to take care of myself or what's going to happen to my loved one. So we unfortunately have to make that choice and really, really dedicate ourselves to it. And some weeks you won't be tip top on it. You won't always have the time, but when you do, even if it's 15 minutes, take it for yourself. If that means the dishes don't get done, who cares? Sit down and do something for yourself. You need to be able to fill your soul up with things that make you happy. I don't care if that's eating chocolate, watching TV, gardening for a minute, talking to your friend for a minute, whatever it is that works for you. Sometimes for me, that's sitting in silence and not letting anyone talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't talk to me for 5 minutes. It's my time.
I've been known to put myself in timeout.
Yes. Timeout. Oh my gosh. As an adult, you realize what you don't want as kids, right? I love timeout. I love nap time. All the things we hated as kids, right? So it's so true. And so unfortunately, you have to like almost kick yourself in the butt and say, no, I need to put myself first. And you have to make it a priority or you will be a casualty. You will be someone who needs a caregiver. And you can't afford to get a caregiver yourself, right?
And I know it's a bit of a kind of, what's the word? A bit of a cheesy analogy, but it's the oxygen mask on the plane thing, right?
It is.
You put your own on before you put other people's on. And like you said, it's easier said than done. But it's whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be a 3-hour hike. It can be running a bath and lighting a candle. Yeah. That's, whatever works.
Well, exactly. And like, it just breaks my heart because we do so much to make sure our experience is amazing for our loved one, right? They get this amazing bedtime routine every night. They get this incredible breakfast and we get a granola bar maybe, and we pass out in bed with our shoes on, So we need to stop and give some of that back to ourselves. Okay. Yeah. Your loved one doesn't need their full, big show every night. Cut it back 10 minutes and give it back to yourself, or, do something that is realistic for you, like you said. But again, even if right now, when you're listening to this, you're like, girl, that's impossible. You're annoying. Just put it at least in your brain to think about it in the next coming weeks. Okay. Things are slowing down. Maybe I'm going to take 10 minutes, like Carrie said that one time, or with the holidays coming up. I know that's another whole deal. Let's put another full stressor on you, right? Please try to enjoy your holiday. If you're in charge of making the turkey and stuff and you just can't handle it, go buy a turkey, have someone else make it, to eat, get it from a restaurant, make things a little easier on yourself, especially this holiday season, so you can enjoy yourself a little bit. Because I hear so many caregivers after the holiday season ends and they're like, oh, I didn't enjoy any of that. That's no way to live. Yeah. And I know when you're caregiving, sometimes you feel like my life's on hold. It's all about them, but we gotta let ourselves have some fun, some quality of life in there, even if it feels counterproductive. We deserve it and we need it. We need it to keep going. Like you said, another cheesy one. We can't pour from an empty cup. That's so annoying, but it's true.
That's true. Why we all say it.
It's so true. And I hate when people even say it to me. I'm like, shut up. But it's true. And self-care is just so important. And I love that the younger generations are starting to make it a big deal, because I'm like, oh, finally. And I'm going to milk it for all I can, self-care, because it's so important. And life is too short and hard. We're all just humans trying to get through. Treat yourself. You deserve
Amazing. And I also think this is going to sound a bit woo-woo. The universe will make us rest anyway. So if we don't rest and take time for ourselves on our terms, then it's going to happen in a way that we don't want. So it'll be
like sitting in a hospital bed.
Or sitting in a hospital bed, or we're in a rush, so we trip walking down the steps to the car,
break an ankle.
And we're going to have to rest, and then it's not on our terms. So this is something I've learned the hard way, and not caring for someone with dementia, is that, like I said, if I don't do it on my terms, it's going to happen anyway, and I'd rather decide how it happens.
I love that. Can I steal that?
Sure.
I just love that. I want to tell that to everyone, because you're right. You're so right. I mean, the universe will choose for you, and it will not be fun. And it's going to be way harder to caregive when you have that broken leg.
It is. And like you said, that statistic before of caregivers passing away before,
insane.
That's, take the time before it's decided for you.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And I just always think, and that's why, again, another thing with preparation, you have to have someone as backup if something does happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing on your list, guys. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking. It's another thing for you to do. There's so much with the caregiving, and that's why it's the hardest job in the world.
Yeah.
And you guys should all be paid a football player salary. It's a joke to me that you're not all paid amazing.
Yeah. So that's our 5 tips. So community, respite, preparation, education, and self-care.
Yes, ma'am.
Amazing. Yes. Beautiful. One I was going to say very quick question, but it won't be a quick question.
Nope.
Common misconceptions that we come up against around people becoming caregivers, not becoming caregivers, deciding whether not to. What's something that you come up against?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, you definitely helped me with this before we started, so thank you for bringing this up in my head. And so you inspired this answer, but it can go both ways. How I'm going to say this is, caregiving pops up right when we least expect it. We don't plan for it. Usually we don't say, I think my loved one's going to get dementia and I'm going to be there. No, it just happens. Right. So it happens whether we like it or not. And sometimes we think we have to, that it's all on us and that we have to caregive, and that's that. And that's not necessarily true. Unfortunately, there are other options maybe for a professional caregiver or something, but a lot of people, maybe like spouses, they say, well, I married this person, so that's that. And this is my sentence. And, and you don't have to do anything. I don't know how this is coming up. You don't have to do it. But a lot of people want to do the care, right? Yeah. But I think the misconception is it's on you and that's that. Good luck. And no, there is support and there are other people. And then on the other hand, I think other people assume that you don't have to take it on at all, and that it can be, and that it's not your responsibility, right? So I think it can go both ways, and there's misconceptions in that you have to take it on or it's not your responsibility. So what is it? So I think those are 2 misconceptions. And I think I could go on forever about the misconceptions that go along with dementia care, in the sense that it's just people aren't educated yet. There's such a stigma around dementia care. People assume so many things about people with dementia. We're still coming out of that stigma that it's just older people and it's just how it happens. And that's insane. That's not true. That's a huge misconception. So, but there's a lot of misconceptions, yes, definitely about caregiving, that it's solely your job, that no one else can do it, or yes, on the other hand, that it's not your responsibility. So, but I think we could go on forever about misconceptions. But yeah, that would be, I would think, the most common for caregiving.
Maybe we need to do a Mythbusters podcast.
Yeah, I'm so down. So down.
Caregiving
edition. Sorry.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to make sure we do, or have we touched on most things?
I could talk forever.
Yeah, no,
I could talk forever.
Too.
Let's see. I just want, I like to end everything with just, you're not alone. I know I've said that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face forever. You're not alone. And you're just not. Caregivers, it's so easy to feel alone when you're at home at night and your loved one's asleep and you're exhausted and you're sitting on the couch and you're thinking, I have to do it all over again tomorrow. No one understands. And then your loved one's wandering and trying to get out the front door and, oh, you can't go to bed. And, you're not alone. In that moment, just know you're not alone. Yeah. And that there are other people in their homes doing the same thing, going, oh, this is rough. Yeah. But you will get through it. And you are amazing. And thank you for showing up. Just showing up. Thank you. Thank you for being there for your loved one, whether that be them living with you and you caring for them 24/7, or you helping them get into a memory care facility that's safe and you calling them once a month. Whatever it is for you, thank you for showing up. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us for the Daisy Chain podcast. It's been amazing, and we could talk for hours, and I'm sure we will. I've got all these ideas running through my head.
I love it. I'm so excited.
So thank you so much.
Of course.